Live from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The one, the only, the unexpected thrill of a lifetime podcast. Brought to you by The Evil Carousel. I'm your host, Dan Fisher. It's the beginning of a new era. Welcome one, welcome all, no matter who you are. This is your weekly dose of positivity and excitement. Spring has sprung. Time to dust off your feathers. Get out of the house. Do some spring cleaning. Rake your leaves. Throw out some old stuff. Who would have ever thought that this meteor of madness would collide with your world? Our numbers are through the roof. Millions of listeners. Big ratings. Of course, our numbers are being suppressed, and they're being suppressed on a level that we've never seen before, the likes of which no one's ever seen before. Do me a favor. Tell one person about this podcast, or maybe you heard about this podcast from another friend. If so, welcome. This is a podcast for anyone. There's no discrimination here. Maybe you heard of our podcast from one of the flyers, the many flyers that have found their way around Philadelphia. Penn Campus, South Street Bridge, South Street itself, Clark Park. Come on, you know what you're doing. You know why you're here. You were like, maybe I need something new in my life. Well, you might have found it.
Hey, you get back here, you pass. Can they say to winter? There's no way that nobody's gonna leave this town.
That's right. This is episode 6 of the world famous podcast. I say world famous because I had a guy in the Netherlands who commented something that I can't even read, and I love that. So put your shoes on, get your hat on, and get ready, because you're about to laugh.
Hell, I was born here, and I was raised here, and dadgummit, I'm gonna die here. And no sidewinding, bushwhacking, hornswoggling, crocker is gonna roll my biscuit cutter.
Now, who could argue with that? Not only was it authentic frontier gibberish, it expressed a courage little known in this day and age. That was a soundbite from Blazing Saddles. You know it, you love it. But now it's time for, we're going to talk about what we're going to do on the show today. Where are we at here? All right. We got a bunch of exciting stuff going on. This is the table of contents. We got Philly news. New Philly restaurants to check out. We got the pizza tour. The FFN product of the week. FFN news, your favorite. Sorry, it's going to get a little political this week. We just had CPAC. We're going to have the movie of the week. The album of the week. New music to close out the show. A little bit of a springy acoustic guitar. And finally, a new addition to the show. It's called, we're going to be reading a section of the Book of Madness.
This is madness.
It's gonna be pretty great. Anyway, let's talk about some new food. Some new food in Philly. I tried this new place called Ike's Famous Crab Cakes. Now, I don't know about you, but my bucket list contains some food items that I want to try. I told you last week about a zebra. You know they look tasty. But this week, I had a different animal on a sandwich. I've been wanting a lobster roll my whole life. Well, I finally got one, and it was as good as it sounds. It wasn't no New England or whatever lobster roll, but it was still pretty good. Ike's Famous Crab Cakes, they say they got a 4-ounce crab cake that's out of sight. I don't know if that's good or not. I don't know if I've had a 2-ounce crab cake. But they got all kinds of stuff that looks good. Little cookies, a little cookie bundle. And they got spiral fries. I never had a spiral fry before. We have the pizza tour. Now this is a place that I tried a little while back. Actually, it was almost a year ago. It was at the beginning of the pandemic. I got some carryout and pizza in University City. They've got a second location on Chestnut Street in Center City. Their pizza comes in a big oval. It's kind of like Subway. You walk up to the counter, you point at what you want, they put it on there. It was some pretty good damn pizza, and I'm gonna give them, I'm gonna say a 7 out of 10. But it's good. They're on Grubhub. Check them out if you're ever in the city. Again, another one from my neck of the woods. If you come down here, I'm gonna quiz you on these pizza places. Because there's a lot of them and they're all good. Anyway, like I said before, spring is sprung. It's my favorite season. Every year I celebrate. I write about it. The flowers are popping up. I'm gonna do mulch soon. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I love the smell of fresh cut grass and mulch. It's good, you know? Our friends, the trees, they get recycled. And they lay upon the foundation of the nice, happy, brand new plants that are popping up. But anyway, we're moving on here. We got our little bit of Philly news. I don't really know too much more to say. The vaccine's underway. They're opening things up more and more. The Phillies are going to have fans back in the stadium again. It's going to be something else. I think it was, 2,800, something like that. You might find your way back to normal life pretty soon. I actually just got one of those official KN95 masks. They're a little bit cone-shaped, but it feels legit when you wear it. I would recommend. But anyway, we're going to move the show right along now, and we're going to talk about a new ad a new product placement that we have today. Our series of FFN News is always brought to us by a new product. This product this week is also the short of the week, as it normally is, or usually is. Slippees, the first ever throat lubricant. Now you're going to be asking yourself, you're going to say, listen, Dan, this sounds a little weird. This sounds a little sexual. What's going on here? Well, Slippees is the first ever throat lubricant that makes it easier for you to slide the food down your throat. Maybe you're suffering from extreme hunger. Maybe you've been on a deserted island for half your life. I don't know. Maybe you're in an eating contest, maybe a soup eating contest. Well, you really don't need the soup eating contest for that. But maybe if it's, a hot dog eating contest, who knows? Whatever it is, it's your lifestyle, it's your life. Slippy's Throat Lubricant help slide it down your throat even faster than you ever imagined. There's more description in the Friday short. That'll be out at Friday at noon, as always, but there's more description there. But, after the fact, hearing it again, I'm thinking, boy, that really does sound like it's just a mock or a slip-through sexual product. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we can't stay on it forever. And now it's one of our favorite pieces of music. It's the Rockin' Around the FFN News. This is FFN News. I'm your host, Dan Fisher. That's right, folks. We're jumping right in today. FFN News digs deep. With the end of February, it wraps up Black History Month. And Black History Month, coincidentally, falls on the shortest month of the year. FFN News, animals. Injured tiger in the woods blames car rollover. Apparently the tiger had a broken leg and they had to take him to a specialty vet, put a rod in his leg, and he's all stitched up and ready to go, but he says, you know what? Pay attention to the road, man. Figure out what you're doing here. FFN Toys. Potato Man transitions into Sweet Potato Man. There's gonna have to be some revisionist history there of Toy Story. I don't know what's gonna happen there. FFN News Politics. We have coverage of The Big Lie and of CPAC. CPAC planners lack new ideas and speakers, and they resort to wheeling out old TV to show Trump 2016 speech. Chairman says, "Of course we didn't know the stage looked like a Nazi symbol." What are you talking about? We would never do that. Continuing FFN News Politics. Study finds 100% of Antifa Capitol rioters wore white face makeup. It couldn't have been Trump supporters. Trump supporters don't do that kind of thing, according to some. The golden statue that was displayed at CPAC renamed Trump after nation removes President and Mr. from his title, making it the first non-binary presidential statue. It's a big day for presidential statues, let me tell you. Millions of Republican lawmakers stay silent as country goes off the rails. They're fine with all the norm-breaking craziness that's gone on for the last 4 years, even though they spent their whole life saying, we defend the Constitution, we don't want things to change. Well, I guess that's sort of true there. And we got one more. This is part of a new segment called Stories of Bad Parenting. One mother said, "I created a mobster." Now that baby's shaking down the whole household for all kinds of goodies, all kinds of, snacks, and, you got your cereals and candy and everything like that. Well, we got past all the intros, we got past the news, we got past everything else. It's time for the meat. Oh! Listen how juicy that is. That's just dripping out of your headphones or your radio or your computer speakers, or maybe this is just in the distance, just playing for no one. Well, gather your friends, gather your family, grab your dog, and sit there and teach yourself how to listen to a podcast. You know, listening to audiobooks and listening to podcasts and everything, well, it takes focus. It's a skill. It's like working a muscle. You don't just become a good listener, but we're not great listeners anymore. We spend a lot of our time talking and blathering and just pushing out our own ideas and stuff. This is the time to get to it. Listen to some books. I'm telling you, you'll probably get through it faster than you would if you were reading it. Anyway, it's time to get spiritual on the Unexpected Thrill of a Lifetime. This will be the Unexpected Thrill of a Lifetime. You're going to look back on this and you're going to have nostalgia about it. But it's time to get spiritual. I've got a little Ganesha statue on the desk in front of me. I'm slowly building a Joe Rogan set. So you have all kinds of visuals to look at during the process. But this little statue brings me good energy, good vibes. It was given to me as a gift from my little sweetheart, Michelle. She's a spiritual advisor of sorts to me. And I gotta say, that's not all you need. You don't just need a little statue. You gotta do some meditation. Cut out the toxins, people and chemicals. Do some yoga. Learn a new skill. Learn a new instrument. There's plenty of stuff to do out there. And while we're in the topic of cutting out toxins and everything, maybe you were hooked up with the wrong crowd, the wrong group, the wrong political affiliation. Without going into anything too deep or bashing Trump anymore, I'm just going to say, remember folks, for those of you who are religious, the Bible says, beware of false idols. They will lead you down the wrong path. I found some pictures of me. I was doing some spring cleaning. Every year I just get jazzed about it. I just get some excitement when I start diving into stuff. I found, now this is vintage Dan Fisher, which you might be already familiar with, but I found some pictures of myself. When I was in middle school, I was in a lip sync contest where I performed as Bono doing the song I Will Follow with some of my buddies. You know, it wasn't the greatest performance ever. You know, we had all the cheerleaders. They all got together and do, hey, Mickey, you're so fine, you're blowing my mind. Hey, Mickey. And then the popular boys who, you know, were basically rock stars in that era. Or that, you know, they did TNT by, I almost said by Dirty Deeds, by AC/DC. And of course, they were so cool and hip and, you know, good for them. That was cool too. But I wanted to do something a little bit different, you know? U2's a band where eventually, a lot of people like to put them down and push them off and everything. But then time passes and you listen to old U2 and you go, you know what? Maybe I do like this band. I was also in a play. I think it was the high school play, but it was called Trifles, and I played a character named Mr. F, and it was loosely based on the movie Noises Off with John Ritter and Alfred from the Dark Knight series. I always forget his name. But basically it was a play about a play, all the things that go wrong behind the scenes, and I had a great time. I wore a fat suit. I was the second biggest role, and that was really my breakout. I don't know if any of you listeners would remember that, but maybe you do. Check it out. And last but not least, on the beef, we have a new rating system to talk about. This is a little bit of a bit, but I think it's funny, and I'll probably adopt it in the future. If you do something funny, or a good deed, or something that's just plain awesome, you receive a check mark. 4 of those, and you'll receive a thumbs up. 2 thumbs up, and you'll get a gold star. 5 of those gold stars, and you get a diamond. Now, 3 diamonds gets you a platinum pat on the back. I saw some graffiti this week that said, "My daddy is Uncle Jay." My dad's name was Jay, and my cousins used to call him Uncle Jay, so it was just kind of funny seeing that. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that other than graffiti is weird sometimes. If you're from Philadelphia like me, you see graffiti all the time that says gay chaos. I don't know who it is. I don't know where it comes from, but apparently there's a lot of gay chaos out there. Or maybe not. I don't know. I always say that. I always say, or maybe not. You know what? I don't know enough about the subject to really go on about it. But yeah, that's about it for the beef or the meat, whatever you call it at home. You know, you say to your friend, you're like, you know what? I really like that one section of the show. What was it? The beef, the meat? I don't know. We all have something different that we call it, but either way, it's good. Oh man, what is next? Let's go with this. Oh, you know what that means. It's time to read from the Book of Madness. You don't know what that's about. I didn't tell you about it yet. But my father, as I mentioned, Jay Fisher, he was a bit of a writer of sorts, came up with a lot of silly ideas, and he wrote the Book of Madness. And this is the first segment, and it kind of sets up and explains what it's all about. Okay. Even before the dawn of man, there was madness. The birth of our planets were of a direct descendant of madness. The birth of our own star and the millions of stars in the heavens were all born of madness. We owe all great beginnings to madness. Some would argue this point. But was it? Or was it not madness that made its first impression on our lives? Think about it. Even before we gazed at our own mothers, we were held by a man clearly full of madness. And then madness entered our lives forever. When we were spanked, and I say spanked by madness. A fortunate few who can see the true madness in our everyday lives. It was for those few who this book was created for. Well, that's the first reading of the Book of Madness. Like I said, I'm going to read a little bit of it in the next coming weeks. I'm also going to be shouting out where madness creeps up in life and in movies and media and everything like that. And speaking of movies, it's the movie of the week. Now, I am not a big Marvel fan. I am not a big fan of all of the superhero movies and everything else that goes on. I just think there's too many of them, and that's all it's about anymore, is superhero movies and Star Wars. And blah, blah, blah. I mean, I love Star Wars, but I'm not gonna beat it. So I'm coming out with my own superhero pick. It's philosophical. It's based on a graphic novel. It's got a killer soundtrack. It's fantastic. The Watchmen. Now, this movie came out probably about 10 years ago now. And if you watch the full version, I think it's almost 4 hours. But I'm telling you, this movie is just intense. And it gets better every time I see it. And there are parts of it that are fucked up. But that's what I like about a good movie or musical album or a book. It takes you through all of the emotions. There are parts that make you laugh. There are parts that make you sad. Parts that make you go, that's fucked up. Really interesting and engaging parts. Action that you can cheer on your favorite character. My favorite character is controversial. When I was younger, for some reason, I always chose like the worst character in the movie to be my favorite. Well, in some cases. But I always liked the comedian. I thought he had a certain way about him that was just kind of badass. That part where he's walking to I'm Your Boogeyman in the middle of the streets where the riots were going on. That was pretty cool. Now I'm going to talk about the album of the week. I wish I could play some of it, but because this is on YouTube, they're going to pull it down. They're going to pull the video down because of copyright stuff. You're probably thinking probably not, but I'm telling you, they are vigilant. They do it all the time to podcasts that I listen to, and, you know, it is what it is. I don't mind it, you know what I mean? I'd rather those artists get paid, but I'm going back to one of my favorite albums growing up. When I was in high school, this song made me feel badass. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. Now, there might not be many other first albums that knock it out of the park as much as this. They were known as the loudest band of all time. And, you know, they kick it off with Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet Child of Mine, Mr. Brownstone, It's So Easy, Rocket Queen, which is my favorite GNR song of all time. I mean, in Paradise City, and It's So Easy, and Night Train, and I mean, I could go on. It's So Easy, I could go on. And I mean, I might have named all of them then, but great, great album. I love a good 4-piece band. That's my favorite, but Guns N' Roses is a 5-piece, especially in the beginning. You know, Izzy Stradlin, Steven Adler, Axl Rose, Slash, Duff McKagan. I mean, these guys were the pinnacle of 80s California glam and hard rock. I mean, you just can't get any better than that. And I highly would suggest the Slash biography. He wrote it himself. Very interesting, really gives you an insight. There were some really fucked up stories in that book. Like, real quick, you probably don't want to hear about this, but I'm just going to tell it anyway. They were on tour with Metallica at one point. And you know the lead singer, I forget his name, but the lead singer, his voice is really, you know, intense. Like, hey, 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 yeah, when I went down on that road. Anyway, they were in a hotel room next to this guy. And he is getting down and dirty with a groupie or something like that. And he just heard this pounding against the wall. And normally when people are getting intimate, there's some moaning, maybe even some crying. No, I'm just kidding. But all they could hear from his hotel room was the sound of him going, "That'll do, that'll do, that'll do." That seems like the most repulsive thing to say during sex. That's just me personally. I just, that's what I think, but that's just me. And the choice is yours what to do with it. Well, I hate to do this already, but we're coming up on our time already. You know, most episodes are only 30 minutes until we have some guests, but quarantine, you know, kind of puts a damper on that. I'm going to wrap up the show now with the end of the show song, and then afterwards I'm going to play some acoustic guitar for a song that I've been working on for pretty much forever called The Lake. Reminds me of spring, and I'm just going to play it because it kind of gives me that feeling, and I'm going to start adding other instrumentation to it, maybe some lyrics later. But until then, thank you very much for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for looking at the flyers if you found them around the city. And just do yourself a favor. Start something new. Do something positive. Get together with some of your friends. This is the end of the show now. The show now. This is the end of the show now. The show much for listening. Here's that song that I wrote, the Lake. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Let me know anything that you want next week, any suggestions. Maybe next week we'll have another call from the robot. And check out our Friday short from last week, the small bonus. We need to get some more views on that thing. And make sure you subscribe to our channel and follow us on Instagram at Evil Carousel for all the fun.